Hey guys, Samo here again, continuing my jazz discussion about some of the best jazz albums of all time, and or definitely the albums that influenced me the most. And this one, I think it's probably one of the best guitar trio records of all time. Speaking, of course, in terms of bass, drums, and guitar records, and I'm talking about Bright Size Live by Pat Metheny, which kind of almost seems like an obvious choice for every guitarist and probably every guitarist of my generation. So we're talking about kind of mid-40s players or even, of course, younger players. And uh, it's one of those records that you hear nowadays and it just blows your mind. And it's becoming, more and more legendary with months and years, especially because of Jaco Pastorius' influence, of course. And it's a record that I think it sold like 900 copies or 1,000 copies in the beginning when it was released, and now I think it's one of the most classic and well-deserved, actually, classic records of all time. Speaking of jazz, and first the band, you have like one of the sickest rhythm sections of all time with Jaco Pastorius on bass and Bob Moses on drums. And it's one of the earliest recordings, of course, of Jaco Pastorius. And after that, kind of his fame, of course, began to rise. And, already the solo on the first tune, Bright Size Life, it's just so melodic, and you actually hear why he's one of the greatest, or has been one of the greatest ever. But one important factor is also for this album, I believe, the drum work and the cymbal work of Bob Moses, rock alarm Bob Moses. And, I had the privilege to play with Bob and tour with Bob last year. We did a beautiful album together in trio with the bass player Ariel Anderson. And, he told me many stories about the album, of course, Bright Size Life, and playing with Jaco and Pat. And, he said like, it's a solid representation of what this trio could do, but like he said that live they kicked way more ass and they were way more open, and it's kind of they were held under restraint in a sense for this record. Even if you didn't know this fact, you would still say it's an amazing record. But I got some bootlegs of this trio, and it's true actually what Bob said. It's just live they were really kicking it, while for the album format they kind of made it more songable, I'll put it like that. But it's like, also the interaction of Bob and Jaco make this record amazing. What they create under Pat Metheny's solos and his melodies. And of course, Pat, contributed amazing music for this one. We're talking about 7 beautiful originals, from ballads kind of to Midwestern, Night's Dream, and of course the title track, Bright Size Life, one of those tracks I think that every guitar player learns actually. And the entire thing ends with Ornette Coleman, so Round Trip and Broadway Blues, and which kind of makes sense. This is where Pat also comes from, next to, of course, this kind of Jim Hall oriented heritage Midwestern influence. And beautiful record all in all. I think one of the best records ever regarding a jazz trio format, and you should check it out. I think I transcribed every solo by Pat Metheny of this record, and it's just such a treasure. It's 37 minutes long, but every tune is so strong. And yeah, check it out. Let me also know what you think about this one, whether it is an important record for you guys. I guess especially guitar players will say yes. But yeah, comment down below, and let's talk. See you guys.